Wow, those lights are bright. Okay. So today I'm going to ask a question that I would like you guys to take with you as I, perform and tell a little bit about myself. That question is, what is the difference between the two questions? What do you do to stay alive? And what do you do for a living? I've been a poet for 8 years. I've been in and out of different friendships and relationships with people that have really inspired me to tell stories about people that will never want to actually get up on a stage in front of a bunch of people and say things that they may not be able to ever take back ever again. So I decided to take it upon myself as a great friend and a great person that I can sometimes be and say, hey, this is your story. I'm going to tell it for you in front of 150 people. So I've actually been touring a lot with that type of mentality, just being able to express someone's story. And an example of this, I went to Connecticut, and what ended up happening was I knew how I was getting there. I had the money to get there, but I don't have a job, so I didn't have the money to get back home. And I was stuck in Connecticut at the wrong train station, and I was speaking to a security guard. And the security guard was saying, well, what do you do for a living? And I say, well, I write. I'm a poet. That's what I do. And he said, oh, okay, you know what? Look, man, you're in a tough struggle. I'll be right back. 5 minutes later, he comes back and he's like, look, I want you to stay in school. I want you to do good. You know that speech that every adult tends to give children at one point in time. And then he brings me into the bus depot office and he says, this woman will not let you on the bus until you say a poem. Really? That's all? Okay. And I performed a poem that I absolutely love, and 10 minutes later, I was on a bus from Connecticut to Port Authority. So I feel that at the end of the day, what is the difference between what keeps you alive, what you do for a living, is simply how you feel about it, what you do with it. I spit poems because it inspires people. I've had so many people come up to me and tell me that I've said their story and I've never met them and I've never gone through what they've gone through, but I've been able to say it in the best way that I possibly can. And I've been working on the train a lot. I'm a train performer, self-proclaimed. And basically, this is a poem that I've written about being a self-proclaimed train performer. I was born with a pilot flame in the back of my throat. Now I know some of you are thinking, what's he talking about? Is he trying to sound all profound and deep, like those people that had a little too much to drink and thinks everything they say is really poetic? No. I'm not even a poet, honestly. I spend a great deal of my time writing. Of course, when I'm not job hunting. 3 poems a day, 7 days a week, and all my friends wonder where my life went. And when everyone is talking 9-to-5 jobs they can't stand, I sit and think about my own. Self-proclaimed train poet. Not something the everyday resume has room for. They ask for experience. What can you do? What have you done? So in response, I say this. I am lighter fluid and matchstick spark. To ignite the pipe dreams of teens by any means necessary, visionary to any mission that involves poetry as a position to teach. Reach any amount of countless ears from here to the Lower West Side. I survive on the guise that I'm one of you in the crowd. Hopes that pity and wanting will come out of you, wanting to give me $1 or a moment of your time. I am not that guy that doesn't know how to play an instrument or swings on those poles or dances around like a little monkey and says, it's showtime. No, it is not showtime. It's poetry time. Those doors close, I come alive to backflip witty words of about 54 pairs of eyes, and maybe I'm out of my mind. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Waking up every morning with a plan the size of my pen. I can't work a job I hate. Behind a desk, watching the clock me, tank on E, don't even bank on me cracking a smile, honestly. But poetry's something I adore. A muse to floor the dreams that tend to soar out of my reach. To hear somebody tell me they felt my poem is like making a free throw from the bleachers. I am a teacher. I give food for thought, and you'd be surprised how many are starving. So I make harvest with the name Starving Artist because I'm starting to blame the pilot flame in my throat and the 3 poems a day for the smoke that I spoke into the open. It makes people stop, drop, and listen. Envision getting on the train and shouting, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." No, it's a poem. And then show what time hasn't been able to slow down, what it hasn't been able to hold down, how we think. When with our tongues we run like a sink without ever saying anything that sinks in. So when people say I have no life, that I write too much, and I'll never pay the bills with a poem, I smile. And then I show them my resume. Self-proclaimed trained poet. Job description. The one not inspired to travel, but travels to inspire. Every time I think about performing, I think about a conversation I had with a young lady, and she was telling me about how she was working at a temp agency, and they were bouncing her from job to job, and she didn't know what she wanted to do with her life, and kind of felt like me, because I've never known what I wanted to do with my life. I'm so indecisive, I didn't know I was going to wear this tie today. But honestly, what ended up happening was we had one of the most inspiring conversations for myself and for her. And I said, well, why are you sitting behind a desk when you could be following your dreams? You want to be a theater major and you're working at Mac. Why? Do it. Go out there, star in a play, do something, get your life and live it. And 2 weeks ago, I messaged her on Facebook, and she said, you know, I'm off today. And I was like, wow, you're off? And she was like, well, no, actually, I quit my job. And I'm like, whoa, you quit your job? That was not what I was expecting. And she said, no, I quit my job to follow my dream as a theater major. And I was like, wow, okay. And I was happy, and I smiled because that was for the first time I felt like I really, truly inspired somebody. So, please, live.